Hey, this is Lynn. Today is Weigh-In Monday, and it is November 20th, 2023. This is Thanksgiving week, so I hope that everyone has some great plans for this Thanksgiving and plan to stay on track. I mean, if you get off a little bit, that's fine, but have a plan and do your best to stick to it. It's going to be a weird Thanksgiving for us because my husband signed up to work on Thanksgiving, and he was just thinking, well, we're carnivores. It's not going to be that big of a deal for us. Usually when we have Thanksgiving, we invite some a family, out-of-town family, to come and see us, and we love them, but one of them is a vegetarian, the other's a vegan, and so we usually have like a ton of vegetarian and vegan food that we make for them, in addition to having a turkey and all that. But this time, it would have been interesting. I mean, if he hadn't signed up for work, we probably would have still done it and had a carnivore vegan Thanksgiving dinner. The important thing is family. You're getting together, right? And you're having a good time together. But it didn't work out. My daughter was a little disappointed because this is going to be her last Thanksgiving with us before she gets married, and she was kind of bummed out. But then her fiance signed up to work too after he found out that my husband signed up to work. So her and I are going to spend the Thanksgiving day together. It's not going to be focused on food. So I guess this is kind of going to be like an easy Thanksgiving for me. I don't have to worry about navigating all of the food issues that people have to deal with when it comes to Thanksgiving. So I guess I'm grateful for that. I am going to miss all the, having family over and having a good time with them. And we usually invite some other people that aren't family as well that would be, spending Thanksgiving by themselves. So we will see how things transpire. I want to plan something for us to do this Thursday, and we'll see how it goes. We were going to order, if my husband was not working, we were going to maybe order tomahawks for us, but then he decided, let's wait until we achieve some goals. So for him, he wants to wait until he gains a decent amount of muscle. And for me, he said, let's wait until you reach like 250 pounds, and then we're going to order these big tomahawks. So we'll see how that goes. It's going to take a little while, but that's okay. And I'm not eating poultry, so I wouldn't be having turkey anyways. I did add fish this week, and it was funny because the first day I added fish, I was just like, I got to eat fish. And I ate fish I had 2 full meals of fish, and then I had fish again the next day. And then by the third meal, I was like, okay, I'm done with fish. I was realizing that I was craving the beef, and it was nice to have the fish. And I had, let's see, what did I have? I had salmon. And then I had this steelhead trout. That was like the 3 meals. I had both of those. I made kind of a large quantity. Later in the week, I made myself some mahi-mahi. But, I didn't really like it. It's kind of a heavy fish, and, it's tuna, right? So it's kind of like eating a big old slab of tuna. And I know you're supposed to cook it really rare, but I didn't do that. I'm a little nervous about rare fish. I've never been a big fan of sushi, like the rare sushi. So anyways, it might have been better if I had actually cooked it the way it was supposed to be cooked, but I didn't. But anyways, that's okay. I was really craving beef. But with that said, the fish did fine. My gut was fine. It didn't flare up my rosacea. So I think that I'm okay with continuing to add fish back. And I know I was looking for dietary sources of iodine, and I know that I had did my iodine skin test, and I haven't gotten the results yet. I have been going down this iodine rabbit hole, and I'm thinking I probably need to do maybe a couple of videos, break them up, because I want to show you the results of my iodine skin test. I want to show you kind of what I've learned about the skin test in general. But then there's so many other questions about, what we need as far as iodine, just in general as human beings. Is the U.S. recommended daily allowance sufficient or not? I have been listening to an audiobook called The Iodine Crisis. I have ordered 2 books on iodine from leading experts. So I am going to go down this iodine rabbit hole. And because I'm seeing things on both sides, I'm seeing like, oh yeah, you could easily get too much iodine. You have to be really careful. The 150 micrograms a day is all you need. And then I am seeing from this other book that that's not true. So I'm going to dig in. I'm going to learn more. Okay. Let me see. I've got a list here of things I want to talk about. Oh, I had posted a video about my non-scale goals. One of my goals was to be able to get up off of the floor without the assistance of a chair. I have to say, I was able to do that this week. Now, I didn't film it because I'm not 100% sure if I feel like I've really achieved that goal, because it was still kind of a challenge and I'm sure it was really ugly. And I don't necessarily need to be attractive getting off the floor, but it was definitely awkward. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to count that as a victory. I may give it a little bit more time and see if I can actually like do it maybe a little bit easier, but we'll see. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll film myself and see just how bad it is. Because I know last time when I did my non-scale goals, I filmed myself getting up with the assistance of a chair after I did my video. In my video, I talked about how horrific it looked. And then it turns out that I don't think it looked nearly as bad as I was imagining in my head. And I think that it had looked worse in the past. So we'll see. After this, maybe I'll film myself getting up without the chair. And then if I decide that I want to count that as achieving a goal, I will post the video for you to watch. I'm a little nervous. Okay, I decided to make a video. Let's see how awkward this is. All right. So down on the ground. Usually I start out like this. I've just done my exercises. Time to get up. So usually I crawl to a chair, and so I'm going to try it today without it. Yay! I did it. Okay, I did get out and walk. We've had beautiful days, not a whole lot of rain. We've had sunshine. It's been cold, but I've got out and I've walked most days this week. Let's see here. Oh, I have still been staying up too late. I have been horrible about, achieving that goal that I set for myself of getting to bed earlier. Not good, but my energy's good. So I guess that's a really good thing. I'm not sleeping during the day and I'm not feeling all wiped out. So I don't know, maybe I'm getting to the point where I don't need as much sleep. Maybe, we'll see. I got my letter saying that I have my referral to get a colonoscopy has been approved. So I have to call and get that scheduled. And you may be thinking, well, what's the big deal? You were a GI nurse. And at this point, you should have had your colonoscopy 5 years ago, because I'm 55, supposed to get it at 50. So I'll kind of back off. I've explained this again, but I'm going to explain this again. So I was supposed to get my colonoscopy in 2018. And my mom her health got a lot worse. And she was in assisted living. She turned 91. In that year, her health got really bad. And I was basically her caregiver and fully responsible, for taking care of her. I mean, she was in an adult family home, but I was the one who was there all the time. And I was keeping up track on her health, and she was getting really bad. So I put it off. And then later that year in October, she passed away. And it was really a really difficult passing. As a nurse, I've been with people who've passed away, and I've been prepared for all the ways people pass away. And this was probably the only thing that I never even dreamed of, didn't even know that somebody with Alzheimer's could pass away this way. And it was, I'm not going to go into details, but it was horrifically emotional and very, very just difficult. So the next year of 2019, I was grieving, and it was a really rough year. I was having a very, very difficult time just dealing with how she passed away. And then 2020, what hit then? It was very, everybody's routine colonoscopies were canceled. Nobody was getting a colonoscopy unless they were really serious and having kind of, more life-threatening types of situations. So that didn't happen. Then I had the reaction with the mask, from the heat in my breath, wearing a mask, having my mast cell activation syndrome reaction. I wasn't diagnosed yet, but I had, put the mask on, went to work, put the mask on, was meeting with patients, and my throat, the heat from my breath made my throat swell. Dizzy, nauseated, almost passed out, and my boss sent me home. And so I was working from home, but all the clinics, every place wouldn't let anybody in the door without a mask, and I couldn't wear one. So I was just waiting for the masks to be, the requirement to be lifted. So anyways, that's the story of me and this delay with my colonoscopy. And so my doc said, okay, you need to get one, because we did the stool test. I was showing a little blood in my stool. I'm not seeing it anymore, but it's still time. But I am nervous, and not because I am worried about, things that traditionally people are worried about. For me, with mast cell activation syndrome, any procedure can cause a mast cell flare, and that could set me back. I mean, oh my gosh, I had a bone marrow biopsy at the March of last year in 2022, just as part of the diagnostic process. And that was like 2 weeks. It set me back at least 2 weeks of feeling horrible. And so it kind of makes me a little bit nervous and so I'm going to make the appointment. The first appointment is just to talk to the doctor. And so now I know that there's a protocol for pre-medicating for procedures. It's supposed to help. Masks are no longer required, so I don't have to worry about having a reaction to heat, at least. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to make the appointment, and then I'm going to talk to the doctor, and we'll go from there. But it does make me nervous. I've come so far, and I'm so much less reactive now, and like my rosacea is doing so much better, and my pain is better. Like everything is so much better. It makes me nervous to purposely walk into having a setback. Anyways, that's where I'm at with that. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready to go ahead and go over the results. So this week was really great. I wasn't sure what to expect. Like last week, I could tell I'd lost weight. This week, I wasn't sure. I was kind of grabbing my upper belly, and the fat there that I just hate. And I was thinking, this maybe feels like it's not quite as bad as it was. And I know I've talked to you before about how like low 90s has been my previous set point. Like maybe 292 has been my previous set point. And I don't know if you experienced this, but when you lose weight, or when, no matter how heavy you are, like even at my weight, when I lose weight, I feel lighter. I feel emptier inside. I have this bit of lightness about me. And I don't know if that's related to where you are in relation to your set point or not. But I noticed that this week I was kind of feeling maybe a little heavier. But yet I jumped on the scale this morning and I had lost weight again. So the scale is down to 290.8. I'm thinking that maybe that's below my previous set point. And I don't know if I'm going to just like feel a little heavier for a little while. I don't know. This is just a complete, like off the top of my head thing. Let me know what you think. Like when you pass a set point, do you suddenly feel heavier again? Or do you keep feeling lighter? Because this may just be me. I don't know. But anyways, the scale had me down 2.4 pounds. and my fat-free body weight went up by 0.6 pounds. And if you look at my muscle mass, the whole muscle mass was, no, I calculated it wrong, 0.8 pounds. So I must have lost a little bit of water, like 0.2. And last week, I think I put on about 0.2 water. So the water is kind of fluctuating up and down. I'm pretty sure water is the difference between my increase of 0.6 and my muscle gain of 0.8. So I think water loss is probably the difference, because the fat-free body weight is everything in your body except fat. One of the good things that has happened this week is my visceral fat went down again. Yes, I'm so happy. It takes a while. It really does. It takes me several weeks. And this time, being in the 290s, I have actually gone up, had a gain. And so I think it's taken a little bit longer, but I'm down to 24. I need to be at 15. So I still have a long ways to go. And considering it's like every 3 to 4 weeks to drop a point, it's going to be a while before I hit that ideal, the top margin of ideal for visceral fat. But I'm always happy when it goes down one. My bone mass stayed the same. My metabolic rate went up a little bit. That darn metabolic age is the same. I explained, I think it was in my last video, I explained how the scale measures metabolic weight. It has to do with these waves from the electrodes. Go back and listen to that. But so total scale weight since the beginning, May 31st, 23. And this is the end of week 25. So I've been 25 weeks on this. My total scale weight is down 48.8 pounds. My fat-free body weight is up 18.8 pounds, which is great. So my total fat loss has been 67.6 pounds. I am delighted by that. I was looking back at my app for my Renfo scale. I will put a link to that scale in the description of this video. I was looking at my app, and I was looking at the different trends. And so I'm going to put a screenshot somewhere here of my muscle mass, and just to see. So I was on the carnivore diet back like October of 2021, and then I quit doing it. And my muscle mass back then was way higher. And then all of a sudden you see I hadn't weighed in for a long time, and you see this drop. And so my muscle mass was 108.6 pounds back in November of 2021. And by the time I weighed in again in May of this year, it was 98.2. So I had, over that period of time, lost a little over 10 pounds of muscle. Part of that, it was probably a good portion of that, was because of being on medical leave and just laying around, not using my muscles. So I have now exceeded where I left off back in November of 2021. My mass was 108.6. It's now 110.2. So I'm better than I was then. So that's good. I haven't looked at another photo of my weight trend. And back in November 22nd of 2021, I was 297.8. Then all this time passed, and I weighed in again. March 31st, I was 339.6. So I had gained 41.8 pounds over the course of like a year and a half. Not good at all. But again, laying around, I was feeling horrible. I couldn't really do anything, and was eating whatever. When you weigh that much and you're sick and you just don't feel well and you're in pain all the time, cooking is the last thing that enters your mind. And so it's easier to jump in the car and go through a drive-through, to be honest, than to just cook something. Not the case now. And of course, when I was thinking of cooking, what was I trying to cook? I was trying to cook vegetables and potatoes and rice and, maybe some meat. I actually ate a lot of vegetarian meals back then, because, I just found them easier, I guess. Maybe throw something in the microwave. Anyways, So what a jump up I had in weight. But then ever since then, my weight, I've had a couple of blips, but man, look at that trend on my weight. It is just going down, 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 down. So it's so cool to get that visual. And I forget to look at that when I look at my app, but I looked at that today and I went, I got to do a screenshot of this and I got to show everybody that, wow, it's like downhill. And that's just so inspiring to me. I love that. So anyways, I'm pretty sure that's it. So I'm going to try to get a couple iodine videos out because it's really interesting. And I think it's really important because when you're eating carnivore, I guess the question is that can you get enough iodine through your diet the way food is now? I mean, I guess it depends on whether you're following the recommended daily allowance of 150 micrograms or do we need more? I'm going to learn that and I'm going to share what I'm learning. Also on Sundays, I don't know if you caught yesterday, but Sundays I am on a carnivore book club. We are reviewing the obesity code. We did chapters 6 and 7 yesterday. And so the next week we're going to be doing chapters 8 and 9. So if you want to join us and, join in the chat or whatever, get the book. There's an audio version. I happen to like paper. I'm just so tactile and I like paper. I like to be able to mark it up. I like the feel of a book in my hands, but if you don't, that's great. Just get an audio version, get caught up. It's very interesting, super interesting. And I'm definitely learning a lot. So anyways, I think that's it for today. I hope everyone is having an absolutely wonderful day and a wonderful week. Trying to think, do I add something else to my diet this week? Because again, Lion Diet was an elimination diet. So I was about to say goodbye and then I had a thought. This is how my brain works. Do I add something else this week or not? I am thinking of maybe adding ghee because the fish has been fine for me in a whole week, no problems. So I'm thinking of maybe trying to add ghee. Ghee does not have those proteins that butter has that tend to be more reactive. So, and I do like ghee. I like the taste of ghee. So I just might do that. We'll see. I'm going to try to decide, but I'm pretty sure I want to add something else. I want to make sure I do, because it was an elimination diet to do the Lion Diet. I want to really test out some foods. So I think I'm going to add ghee this week. Okay. I'm wishy-washy, but I think I made up my mind. I'm going to add ghee. I'll be reporting back to see how that does. If it doesn't do well, it's back out. Okay. All right. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Hope you all have a fabulous week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.